Hello and welcome to Badminton Weekly with me, Jasmine Lim. Kunlavut Vitidsarn will be the new world #1 this week after winning the KFF Singapore Open 2025. He will become the first men's singles player from Thailand to reach the summit and only the 4th player from the nation after Ratchanok Intanon, Dechapol Pravaranaukroe and Sapsiri Te Ratanachai. Steen Pedersen shares his thoughts on Vitidsarn's latest achievement, as well as other headlines that emerged from the Super 750 tournament last week.
I guess it was bound to happen sooner or later. He's shown a lot of potential up through his junior career and also in his senior career already, a world champion, Olympic silver medalist. So he's had the game for a long time. He's taken some breaks after winning the big titles or making the big achievements. And now it seems like it's all coming together at exactly the right time. So fantastic accomplishment by such a young player. In the men's singles final, it was basically impressive all over the place. Luke Wangsu, I almost felt a little bit sorry for him in the end because Kunlavut Vitidsarn, he was so dominant, and it was, if you only look at his side of the court, it was actually a beauty to watch. It was beautiful badminton. I said it was almost art the way he played today, where you feel that there's flow in everything, the touch is there, the attacks are sitting on the lines, and you just got complete control of your opponent. So it must have been a fantastic feeling for him to be on court today here in the Singapore Indoor Stadium. Vitidsarn is pretty close to his best if we rate that as his World Championship in Copenhagen in '23 and his Olympic silver medal. I still think that he can improve a bit on the physical side of the game. He's taken some rather long breaks after his victories, and I think there's going to be people challenging him on his stamina. In this tournament in Singapore, the drifty conditions, he handled them super well, and it was great to see the touch and the imagination he always displays in his game.
The mixed doubles final between Thailand's Pravaranaukroe and Pui Sampron versus Hong Kong China's Tang and Se was the first time this year that China failed to reach a final at a Super 500 tournament or better, which came as a surprise to many given the Chinese domination of discipline in recent times.
The two best Chinese pairs on the world ranking, they've been split, and that means that the pairing of Jiang Zhengbang and Huang Dongping, they couldn't even enter this tournament because they were not having enough ranking points. And I feel that those two split pairs, even though they've done well and won tournaments, they're much more vulnerable. They're not as used to playing together as the regular pairings that are going to play the World Championships later this year. Of course, China have more than two good pairs, so a little surprised that Gu Xianhua and Chen Fanghui wasn't able to make it to the final, but I'm not that surprised, and I must say that there was a lot of good mixed doubles pairs in this tournament. I think Pef Sampran and Pravaranaukroe, they have been impressive in the tournament in Singapore, and in Sunday's final they were just so quick on their feet. They were alert. Pef Sampran very alert at the net, and Pravaranaukroe was giving good working conditions from the backcourt. They were very often in the offense and able to play at a faster pace than Tang Chunman and Ziying Sweat, who also had a good tournament, but today it was the Thais who were the better pair.
3 of the top 5 seeds exited the KFF Singapore Open 2025 by the quarterfinal stage, with China's Shi Yiqi the earliest casualty, losing in round 2. One major reason for the large number of upsets at the event was the drifty conditions. The players, along with our very own Kirsty Gilmer, explain further.
I think every time we come to play Singapore Open, that's something you have to prepare yourself for. I mean, it's just so hot outside, so I don't blame the organisers and the people that organise the arena that they have to put the aircon on. It's yeah, absolutely have to. But yeah, it makes for tough playing conditions. It's your timing, not just overhead, but even it makes a difference with your net timing as well. And then it makes the tactics that you have to use on each side of the court just completely different. You have to play different styles, and for me, I think that's what separates the top 20 from the top 10. It's who can, the top players deal with those conditions better. They have stricter plans and they're able to stick to with the discipline of those plans. That was definitely the difference between myself and Ratchanok in our game. I just couldn't stick to the discipline of the plan that I'd made, and she stuck to her plan perfectly. And her execution of shots and timing of shots was so good. So yeah, I think we're seeing the difference, and it can even be tough for the top players. We've seen Anse Young today, finally be beaten. It's we've got to the end of May and someone's finally beaten Anse Young, and I think it's quite fitting that it's Chen Yufei. She's in such fine form, such a run right now that I think if anyone in the world was going to do it, it was going to be Chen Yufei. So it's nice to see that rivalry picked up, and I think we're in for some special stuff for the rest of the year.
저뿐만 아니라 상대 선수도 똑같이 바람 같이 불는 상황이기 때문에 누가 조금 더 집중하면서 했냐가 그거에 좀 승부가 갈렸었던 것 같아요.
对，就是会很难控制吧。其实前2场我打的都很不好，特别是在控制风向上面，就是一直都出现了很多的问题。但是今天我觉得吸取了前2场的一个教训吧。虽然2号场地我是第一次打，但是大差不差，所以我觉得今天的控制会相对好一些。
我非常喜欢在有风向的场地打比赛，因为我觉得不确定性很大，所以我就是喜欢这种挑战。
It's a fun hall to play in, a fun arena in terms of wind and conditions, but it's also a bit tricky if you're not feeling comfortable. So today, of course, we felt comfortable in the first set, then struggled really in the start of the second, and then fought our way back. And then all through the third set, it was a battle on both sides. So I'm incredibly proud that we found the solutions.
The top players, it's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy, because if you do well in a tournament, you get to play more games in these big arenas, and then that prepares you for the next tournament in the next big arena because you've had more experience, and then so it's really hard to get that momentum with your timing and how you're going to deal with these situations and these different airflows. So I don't know, if someone was outside of badminton and you started talking about drift and airflows, it might sound quite silly, but when you're on court and you're so used to connecting with a shuttle at a certain point, and then suddenly the shuttle's not there, it's very hard to adjust. So I think that sets the apart the okay players from the great players. It's who can make those adaptations the quickest.
Chia and Wooi are enjoying one of the best spells in their careers, losing just once in 15 matches and collecting 2 titles in 3 straight finals. The Malaysian pair lifted their most recent trophy at the Singapore Open after a comeback win over Korea's Kim Won-ho and Seo Seong-jae. Steen Pedersen breaks down why the world number 3s are in such excellent form.
I think they've gotten sort of like new inspiration in their partnership. We know that Chia had some problems with his shoulder in the beginning of the year. We also know that after the Olympics, Wooi had problems with his foot. So when you're injured, then it's really hard to perform well. There's a saying that in golf, if the normal top players in golf, if they're not performing, it's because they have a bad back or they've changed their clubs. And I think a lot of the same goes in badminton. If you suddenly experience a dip in form, it's because there's some distractions, either in terms of life-changing events or some injuries. And now since the Badminton Asia Championships, they've just been unstoppable, Chia and Wooi. And I think a lot has to do with the inspiration and influence from their new coach, the vastly experienced Harry Piangardi. I think this is a redemption for him as a coach as well. He has shown that he hasn't lost his touch as long as he has players with good potential to work with. And it's been a pleasure to watch the Malaysian pairs play in these 3 weeks, and especially here in Singapore. I think there's been a lot of improvements. I see a much more secure pair, especially Wooi. He seems confident. He knows what his tasks are, what to do. He's become much better on the front court and is a threat in the front court game now. So they've sort of like become more accustomed to play in the non-preferred roles because I also think Aaron Chia has played better from the backcourt. He's played smarter. He doesn't necessarily use full power, but he uses very steep attack. He uses his disguised drop shots, and that gives Wooi great working conditions on the front court. I also think they've played the service situation and the flat game particularly well. They've been very difficult to get it past in the flat game. They're super ready, they're super focused, they have very few dropouts in the matches that I've seen. The final was a very good match. It could easily have gone either way. I think the choice of ends, there's a lot of drift in the stadium here in Singapore. That meant something, and then I also think that the confidence they came in with and the sort of touch from playing 2 tournaments earlier helped them a little bit. The Koreans, that was their first tournament on this Asia trip, you could say, and they've struggled a little bit extra in the previous matches in the tournament. So that little extra sharpness and confidence that you get from winning, I think that in the end made the difference along with a good game plan.
It has been an intense month for many of the players with back-to-back tournaments in Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore, and this week, Indonesia. One of the plus points of being on tour this long is getting to experience different cultures and cuisines. In Singapore, this especially rings true as it is often considered a cultural melting pot. We asked the players what their favorite food encounter was in the Lion City.
My favorite dish is chicken rice. Why? Because the chicken in here is soft.
Different type
Yeah.
with Hong Kong. So we also like the Singapore chicken rice, yeah.
I like coconut shake, chicken I drink, but and song fa 肉骨茶. Yeah, it's very delicious.
I like food. I like food in Singapore. Chicken rice is the original. Is very nice, very different from the Thailand chicken rice.
I don't know if sweet and sour chicken is Singaporean. Close enough. Yeah. So I am a big fan of sweet and sour chicken. I have it almost every time since the first time we came to Singapore, because we don't really play a lot of matches here in Singapore because we've always lost in the first or the second round. This is the first time we actually played a quarter-final, now semi-final, and maybe finals, let's see. But we've always had a good long week in Singapore where we've just been training and not playing a lot of matches, so we could actually try a lot of cuisines, and yeah, that's my favorite dish.
肉骨茶。
我喜欢喝那个椰子沙冰。
블랑코국수를 먹으러 갔었는데 블랑코국수보다 칠리 크랩을 혜정이랑 먹으러 가고 싶습니다.
저는 여기 와가지고 지금까지 일단 타이 음식만 많이 먹었는데 저는 어제 또 박호텔을 먹어봤는데 기대 이상으로 맛있었고 나중에 같이 끝나고 칠리 크랩 먹으러 가기로 했습니다.
감사합니다.
여기서 그 칠리 크랩 유명하고 또 치킨 라이스나 뭐 락사라고 해야 되나? 뭐 그런 거 다 먹고 있어가지고 너무 다 맛있게 먹고 있어서 한국에서 접하지 못하는 음식들을 먹었는데도 맛있고 또 싱가포르에 올 때가 좀 기다려질 것 같아요.
That's it for our show today. Join us next week as we analyze the standout moments from Jakarta, the third Super 1000 tournament of the year. In the meantime, stay up to date with the latest news by downloading our BWF app, Badminton for You. And as always, let us know your thoughts, comments, and questions on our Facebook and YouTube pages. Bye for now.